Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ringside Wrestling Entertainment. This is Joel Perez here of Ringside Wrestling Entertainment, and today is a little bit special here because we are reviewing something a little bit different here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel, because we are reviewing the exclusive to the WWE Network 32 Women Tournament, the Mae Young Classic, and this is your review for the first and second episode that WWE released on demand on the WWE Network earlier yesterday, because this video is going up on Tuesday, on Monday. So we are talking about the first and second episodes, half of the first round here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. We are reviewing the Mae Young Classic. This is your official place for everything regarding the WWE, and here we're talking about the Mae Young Classic. And right off the bat, I can tell you I enjoyed myself a lot watching the first and second episodes. Very enjoyable this Mae Young Classic has been, and I predict will be. There are some concerns that I have, as I do with everything on the WWE, and I want to address those concerns because this was not perfect, but it was a very exciting show, and it does show promise towards the future of the women's division. Before I do get into the review, I want you guys to make sure to go check out all the other content on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. Last night, Monday Night Raw review went up after that show went off the air. The Monday Night Raw review, we were talking about everything concerning that show. Later today, Tuesday Night Smackdown Live. Smackdown Live review will be up after that show goes off the air as well. So you guys can expect that on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel as well. Each and every Saturday we do a little show we like to call Behind the Mic, where we talk about all the news regarding the WWE for the week, all the biggest news. We were doing that on Sunday because the McGregor-Mayweather fight was such a big bubble on Saturday that if you upload anything that isn't about that, that video is probably not going to do good. So we uploaded it on Sunday, and we were talking about Roman Reigns, the reason he hasn't won a pay-per-view match since WrestleMania 33, and of course Asuka relinquishing her NXT Women's Championship. We're talking about how that impacts the entirety of the women's division, and the Mae Young Classic itself has a little bit to do with that as well, and replenishing NXT, because Asuka is the biggest woman down in NXT. So, of course, we're talking about all that. Make sure to go check out all the other content. We do pay-per-view reviews, NXT TakeOver special reviews. Just 2 weeks ago, or a week ago, we were doing SummerSlam review. So make sure to go check out the SummerSlam review. We talk about the second biggest pay-per-view of the year and its shortcomings, because that was not a good pay-per-view, if you ask me. And NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3 and its high comings, because that was such a fantastic NXT TakeOver special. So make sure to go check out all the other content. Links to that in the channel. If you enjoy what you're hearing here, make sure to like this video, and of course to not miss a single thing on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe to the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel for all that fantastic content. And now I am bringing you the Mae Young Classic. We will be going over this entire tournament, the review for episodes 3 and 4, which I have not seen yet, so don't leave spoilers down in the comment section. But that review for episodes 3 and 4 will be up on Wednesday morning. I am hoping to get that up at least by Wednesday morning. So make sure to go do all that good stuff, because for now we're going to go straight into everything regarding the Mae Young Classic. Here we go. Right off the bat here, I have to know and I have to tell you, the presentation of the Mae Young Classic was absolutely fantastic. No doubt about it. Absolutely fantastic. The stage looked clean, crisp, professional. The lighting was top notch. The light blue colors that they chose for the show look unique and vibrant and exciting, and it gets you just looking at the stage and not wanting to stop. Beautiful stage. Beautiful, unique stage for the Mae Young Classic, and they nailed the presentation, and WWE usually does nail the presentation, so that was not surprising to me. Delightful presentation for the Mae Young Classic. You had the Full Sail crowd. Fantastic. Fantastic. The Full Sail crowd, whether it's for NXT, whether it's for the UK tournament, whatever it may be. Every time WWE goes to the well for the Full Sail crowd, they get a fantastic crowd, and that's exactly what we got for the Mae Young Classic. The Cruiserweight Classic was at Full Sail University. I think they filmed the UK live show that's coming to the WWE Network soon. I don't know what's happened to that, but I think they filmed that at Full Sail. And every time that they go to Full Sail, the shows come off very, very well. And I very much enjoyed what we seen here with the crew, with the women and the Full Sail crowd. Every time, especially when there was a great match or a good match going on in that ring, they gave you the right reaction and they did their job. And I'm very, very excited to say that, to the least. Very, very good Full Sail crowd, and it is exactly what you expected. The women, they got all like similar to the Cruiserweight Classic. I expected this. Similar to the Cruiserweight Classic, they all got little backstories, little promos introducing the women before the matches, which is obviously a fantastic little detail that WWE threw in there. That was very, very good. Somewhere I do not feel these things were not up to snuff, however, is in the commentary. The commentary was not good for this show whatsoever, and I have to call that out. I love Jim Ross. He's called some of the classics in the industry, and he's made them that much better. But I mean, he clearly is much more, this is a much more toned down version of Jim Ross than the one we used to hear so many years ago, and that is evident. Lita, just not good. Lita is just not good. I feel if you would have got Renee Young for that position, Renee Young, first of all, she used to be a commentator in NXT. I enjoyed her in the earlier days of the NXT. She used to be a commentator there before Corey Graves and Tom Phillips and all these other guys. But she used to be a commentator in NXT, and I enjoyed her. I felt like she was very prepared, and that's a thing that I feel Lita is not prepared. Same thing with Jim Ross. Clearly these women are going to have very vibrant moves and different move sets and maneuvers. And first of all, I don't really see him and Lita as well, Lita being the color commentator especially. Lita doesn't know the backstory of these women, and Jim Ross a lot of the times doesn't know these unique moves and the names for the moves. So when there's a finish, they don't know if to react excited or not. And I feel like that very well comes off on the presentation of the show, and I mean, just not very good. Not good, the commentary at all. I feel if you would have put a Mauro Ranallo with a Renee Young in there, or even a Jim Ross, keep Jim Ross, because Jim Ross, still good, not bad, but still good, just not as great as he could be, not as great as a Mauro Ranallo now would be, because Mauro Ranallo, clearly very sharp, would come prepared with the backstory of these women in mind. So, clearly, if you ask me, not as good as he used to be, and not as sharp as JR used to be, but he's still good in that role. As for Lita, I find her absolutely awful. I found Lita absolutely terrible in her position, not prepared, not knowing the backstory of any of these women, not providing good feedback, and not bouncing off of what JR is saying as a good color commentator, which is the role Lita was playing. I felt if you would have put Renee Young in there, she would have been a lot more prepared, she would have been a lot more sharp, precise, would have known what's going on in there a lot more, and I would have put Renee Young in there. So, I don't know, but I just feel like the commentating could have been a lot better for the Mae Young Classic. As for that, we're going to go into the matches now, and we're going to go match by match by match by match through episodes 1 and 2. But that was just my initial thoughts on the way everything is looking, the presentation, the commentary, the crowd, just everything. That is my initial feedback on what that is looking like. Hopefully things will get better and JR and Lita will start to gel better as it goes on, and maybe as these matches get more exciting, because still not the most exciting matches on these shows yet. Really, round 1 is really a feeling out process, getting rid of those women who are maybe a little bit greener, narrowing it down to the most competitive, ready, willing women in the tournament, and that's when we start seeing the great matches. Maybe that's when we'll start seeing the commentary get better between JR and Lita. But for now, we're going to go into the precise match-by-match analysis. So here we go. And we're starting off here with the first match that we saw in the Mae Young Classic episode 1. And it was Kay Lee Ray versus Princesa Suhate. And this was a very decent matchup to start off the Mae Young Classic. Not the best match we've ever seen. I felt Kay Lee Ray especially was still very scrappy and very sloppy in the ring. That's what I saw in Kay Lee Ray. Princesa Suhate, I liked Princesa Suhate a lot in this first matchup. They described Kay Lee Ray as a hardcore daredevil and an adrenaline junkie. You definitely saw her hitting harder, going maybe for some more high-risk spots in this matchup. They marketed Suhate as having 20 years of experience and being the most veteran, the most battle-hardened, you could say, in this tournament. And I kind of see that being true. Princesa Suhate, very crisp in everything she did. Very Asuka-like moveset. She has a similar stature, if you ask me, to Asuka. Not just in the look, like her hair short like Asuka's, but in the stature of Princesa Suhate, you saw a lot of Asuka in her kicks and her mannerisms. I saw a lot of Asuka, and I like that, because I love Asuka. You already know that if you watch me. But this match started off very quick, and you immediately saw Kay Lee Ray playing the role of a heel, and that's something I noticed in these matches. There was a lot of heel and face play. There was only a few matches where you really couldn't determine if one was a heel or a face, and I felt like the matches that you couldn't determine if somebody was a heel and a face were actually better, but that is besides the point. I like the style of Suhate a lot more. It felt a lot cleaner and unique. While Kay Lee, she was scrappy. She was more of like a Brian Kendrick type, but at the same time, hard-hitting. Kay Lee Ray, she got a very impressive crucifix, which you're actually seeing the image of that right now, like a crucifix on the back type slam on Suhate, which looked cool, but she was very slow to the pin. Didn't make her out to be very smart. I wouldn't be that slow to the pin, especially in this competitive one elimination tournament, so I don't know about that. But in the end, Ray, she tried to go for a swanton bomb, which that's what I was talking about, more high-risk maneuvers here, but she missed. That allowed Suhate to lock in the arm lock, which hyperextended the arm of Ray. You're actually seeing that arm lock right now, and that allowed her to get the tap-out victory, submission victory over Kay Lee Ray. Very, very impressive. She was definitely my pick from the get-go in this matchup. I mean, I'm glad she won, because she's clearly the more experienced one here. She's clearly the more battle-hardened. They spoke about that on commentary, and I'm glad they mentioned that. Her look is a lot more unique, and I felt like she had a lot more to bring to the table than Kay Lee Ray, so I am glad that Princesa Suhate moved on here. I'm going to be looking forward to seeing her advance in the Mae Young Classic, but for now we're going to move on to the next matchup here, and it is Vanessa Bourne versus Serena Deeb. And very interestingly enough, Serena Deeb is very interesting to me because she was in the WWE back in 2010, and I actually did not know this, and I was very, very interested by this fact. She was in CM Punk's Straight Edge Society 2009-2010, and she was going off the Brian Kendrick type storyline here, that she was in this tournament for redemption. Now, she didn't play the heel in this matchup, but she was going off that very similar storyline that I am here in this tournament to redeem myself for my mistakes in the past. I know I messed up, and I am here to fix that. And that is exactly what Vanessa Bourne and Serena Deeb displayed in this matchup. There was actually a female referee in this matchup, which you can kind of see in the picture right there. The female referee, which was awesome. There were rumors before the Mae Classic that there was going to be a female referee, and that is exactly what we saw here tonight. You can tell from the get-go in this match that Vanessa Bourne, was still very green. Still very green, still kind of sloppy in the ring. It was a nice opportunity to show her off, but she was still kind of sloppy in the ring, and that was noticeable in this matchup. There was a very good near fall here where Serena was charging up for some type of running attack in the corner, but she went right into the ropes. That allowed Bourne to get in a very impressive Elias Samson type neck breaker where she lifted the leg of Serena at the same time. Really awesome looking move right there. That was a huge 2. I thought it was over after that. Bourne, she continued to apply the pressure with the Samoan drop, which looked impressive. That gave us another near fall, but a kick out by Serena. Serena, to finish it off, she hit a very, very beautiful spear. Very, very good looking spear on Vanessa Bourne. Hits the spear and gets the 3 count. It's very, very cool for me to see Serena back in the WWE. It was a nice surprise. Didn't know she was going to be in the tournament, and she was definitely my pick from the beginning of this matchup to go over Vanessa Bourne. I feel like Serena, she's going to go pretty far in this tournament. She's going to have a pretty decent matchup going on in this tournament. I felt she really wasn't able to show everything she had here because she was kind of leading Vanessa Bourne in this matchup. You can see it from a mile away that Vanessa Bourne still is very green in that ring, still has a ways to go as far as improving in the wrestling ring, and that was noticeable here. So I'm glad she went over, or Serena went over Bourne. It's going to be interesting to see what Serena does. Grew her hair back. Remember, she cut her hair in 2010 or 2009. When was that? When was that? With CM Punk and Luke Gallows back when he was with CM Punk in the Straightest Society. That was very good. That was a very good thing they had going there. But unfortunately, it was downfall. They played it up in the promo package. She fell. I believe she did drugs or something like that. But Serena is back in the WWE through the Mae Young Classic, and I am very, very glad to see that it is so. But for now, we're going to move on here to the next matchup here, and that is Shayna Baszler versus Zeta. And Shayna Baszler is very interesting because from the beginning, first of all, you knew Shayna's going to win this because she is one of the former 4 horsewomen, not of WWE, but of UFC. And Ronda Rousey, and I believe the 2 other horsewomen, were there with Ronda Rousey at ringside for this matchup, cheering her on the entire way. So you knew from the beginning that she was going to win this matchup, and that was kind of disappointing because Zeta, she had a very interesting story. She had one of those underdog type stories in this tournament, and that really didn't get to be displayed here because she was going against Shayna Baszler, and clearly they made Shayna Baszler look dominant here. Within minutes, it was like 2 minutes in this match, Shayna, she locked in the sleeper with her legs wrapped around, coquina clutch style, and she had Zeta tapping. It was over. It was over. Baszler made to look very, very good here. She's clearly going to be a dominant force in this tournament. I think there's no doubt about that. I mean, she has Ronda Rousey and being one of the 4 horsewomen of UFC on her resume. So, clearly Shayna Baszler is going to do big things in this tournament. Would have liked to see a little bit more of Zeta. Really did not get to see much of her. Really did not get to see what Zeta was made of. Maybe we'll see her on NXT, but this is probably going to be one of those girls who, she was in the tournament? What? Who was that? Who is that? Shayna Zeta? Zeta? Who the hell is that? That's going to be who Zeta is. But Shayna Baszler, they're making her look impressive here. Hopefully, the next match we actually see her compete. I think she's still green. I don't know. She just started training recently. probably, because she used to be in the UFC, or has she been a wrestler for a while? I'm not even sure. But Shayna Baszler, one of the 4 horsewomen of UFC, made her WWE debut in the Mae Young Classic, and clearly she's going to be one of those dominant forces who is going to go far in this Mae Young Classic. I think there's no doubt about that. She has Ronda Rousey in her corner, and being one of the 4 horsewomen of the UFC on her resume, and that is going to mean success for Shayna Baszler. No doubt about it, if you ask me. For now, there really wasn't much to go on here, so we're going to move on here with the Mae Young Classic. We move on here to Abby Lath, aka Kimberly, which if you pay attention to the indie scene in wrestling, you know who Kimberly is. I know who Kimberly is, and upon seeing her, I'm like, oh, that's Kimberly. But they did change her name to Abby Lath, and she was going against Jazzy Gabbert. Jazzy Gabbert, super intimidating look on Jazzy Gabbert. Looks super cool, super dominant. I can see her and Nia Jax having a fucking showdown, and I'd be like, holy shit, this is going to be a fucking big match. But this is clearly the best match that they had on the show. Abby Lath, Kimberly, very, very good in the ring, and they gave her a display here tonight. Jazzy Gabbert looked intimidating from the beginning. At least got to be 6'2", bro. At least got to be 6'2". The handshake in this match was intense from the beginning. The forearms that Abby Lath brought in, I almost call her Kimberly, but Abby Lath, the forearms that she brought in, bro, from the beginning were intense, and the Full Sail crowd immediately reacted to that. Got me excited, got the crowd excited immediately, and you knew this is going to be the best match that we're going to see on episode 1, and it clearly was. There was a very clear David versus Goliath type feel in this matchup, and I loved it. I don't know what Jazzy Gabbert was. I think she was Russian or something. I'm not sure, but I mean, she played that foreign enemy too, so clearly there was some heat on her. She got a huge clothesline in, followed by a series of blows. I would love to see more of Gabbert. She really did look good, great look, and she put on a good display. She put on a good display. She put on an intimidating force to try to stop Abby Lath, but in the end it was Lath who won the match. She got in the matchup an awesome series of kicks and enziguri. I love Abby's style in the ring. I've never seen Kimberly wrestle, but I certainly knew who she was, and now I'm certainly starting to love her style in the ring. She had a beautiful swanton bomb on Gabbert for a near fall, but in the end, it was Gabbert who was looking for some razor's edge type move. She was looking for it for the 3rd time. She had Abby up on her shoulder, and it looks like she was about to put her down for some type of slam, but Abby, I should say, Abby, she reversed that into a sunset flip, did an alligator clutch roll-up or something, whatever they call it. It was reminiscent of Mae Young who did that, and she did pin Gabbert, and she won the match. So very impressive first showing for Abby Lath. I really enjoyed what she showed there. I'd love to see a lot more of Jazzy Gabbert. Best match on day 1, bar none. I enjoyed the hell out of this matchup. The David versus Goliath feel. Very, very good stuff what we saw here, not only in this match, but on the first episode of the Mae Young Classic. It was a nice introduction. Nothing too exciting just yet in this episode. Nothing too exciting just yet. Really just getting introduced. Those people who are going to be something in this tournament, and those people who kind of are not, but very impressive showing here, especially from Abby Lath and Jazzy Gabbert. Best match so far from it taking place, but the next episode does have a match that tops this match, but we're going to talk about that very shortly. Abby Lath and Jazzy Gabbert, very, very good display. For now, we're going to move on here with the matches on the Mae Young Classic. And we're moving on here to the first match of episode 2, and it was Xia Li versus Mercedes Martinez. I enjoyed this matchup pretty well. It was really just getting you started with the show, and this was marketed as Xia Li's first match ever. So Xia Li, she is from Japan or she's from China, Shanghai, China, I believe. Xia Li's first match, and it was interesting to see how she fared. Did not look green. Did not look green. I've seen competitors in the Mae Classic who looked greener than Xia Li. Yeah, there were some shortcomings on the selling, but when it came down to the execution of her moves, it was very crisp, clean. A very good showing for a first match from Xia Li, but it was Mercedes, whose stories interested me right off the bat. She just came in, she said, I'm here to kick ass, and I'm doing whatever I can to win. It's Xia Li's first match. It's probably going to be her fucking last because she's going against me, bro. And Mercedes, she was the clear-cut heel from the beginning. One funny little thing I noticed is that Xia's ass was, the bottom of her ass at least, was visible from her attire. They got to cut down on her attire a little bit more. Just lower it a little bit. Shit. But her attire, clearly the first time she was wearing that attire, her ass was visible from the attire. But despite this being Xia's first match, didn't look green. But then again, this match did not go too long, so we really didn't get to those stages where it's like, oh, shit, she's just really starting to fall apart here. Xia, she got it done. Very good-looking kicks and forearms, but in the end, it was Mercedes Martinez, who was able to defeat Xia with a Dragon Sleeper to get her tapping out here on the Mae Classic. I'm liking Mercedes Martinez, very physical looking style, not attractive. She's not going for that attractive look, and I like that because you don't really need to be attractive to be a women's wrestler nowadays. I mean, she's just looking for it. She's looking for a win, and she's going to do whatever she can to get it. I like her look. It's not because she has an attractive look, but because it's just like this scrappy looking. I don't know how to describe it. Really don't know how to describe it. She just looks like a heel. She's not like trying to look overly pretty like you see Sasha Banks with all the makeup on Raw. I just like how she looks so genuine. Like she's just coming in here to have a fucking wrestling match, and she's gonna kick your ass. So I'm liking the look of Mercedes Martinez. Xia Li, they made her look very, very good in her first matchup. Did not look green at all. I think we'll see more of her on NXT. She is already signed to the WWE because WWE went for tryouts in China, and they signed Xia Li. So it's going to be interesting to see how she continues on her path to WWE. I have no doubt that Xia Li is going to continue on NXT. The first of a long career, hopefully, between Xia Li. But for now, we move on here to Rachel Evers versus Marty Bell. And this is a very interesting match for me because Marty Bell is actually Dominican, and I am Dominican myself. I enjoyed Marty Bell here. I could see a lot of the Dominican in her, but Rachel Evers clearly came in here with the advantage. Unfortunately, that she had to face Marty Bell, but Rachel Evers clearly came in here with the advantage as Paul Ellering's daughter, and she's been on NXT, so I'm quite familiar with her, and if you watch NXT, you are too. But this was a very decent match. One thing I noticed here is that Rachel Evers got a lot better in the ring. Holy shit. I don't know if it was the experience of Marty Bell, because I know she is an experienced indie wrestler. Never heard of her, but they talked about that. But Rachel Evers got a lot better in the ring. Very crisp, very clean. I mean, not as much as you wanted to. The spine buster was a little sloppy. But then again, the spine buster, the modified spine buster that she did was a hard move to pull off. But she did a spine buster at one point from the fisherman suplex position. Looked very, very good there, and I enjoyed that. But in the end, she got a cradle pin, which you're actually looking at on the screen right now. And she pulled up the upset on the more experienced Marty Bell, who was clear-cut heel in this matchup. Marty Bell was. She was very scrappy, not very flashy moveset from Marty Bell because she was really using the ropes to her advantage, and anything she had nearby to her advantage was Marty Bell, and that was very visible, so she really didn't get to show off as many moves as she would have wanted to, is what I noticed here. But Rachel Evers, daughter of Paul Ellering, displayed on NXT. I think she's going to move on and she's going to have a good showing on the Mae Young Classic. So I understand why she moved on, but then again, I would have liked to see the Dominican Marty Bell move on. But that's just me with my personal preference, so don't mind me. But that is besides the point. We're going to move on here to the next matchup here on the Mae Young Classic. And we move on to Rhea Ripley versus Miranda Salinas. Rhea Ripley had the clear size advantage in this matchup. 6 foot tall, JR said. Holy shit. Had a very Charlotte-esque stature, did Rhea. Miranda Salinas, I really did not see anything in Miranda Salinas. She got a nice Hurricane Rana into some type of move, which looked impressive. But besides that, I didn't really see much in Salinas. I really didn't really like her. She got like a spin around over the body of Rhea into a DDT. That was really the only impressive thing I saw here. Besides that, she really didn't get much more offense in. It was really a Rhea-dominated matchup. But something I noticed in Rhea, she had a very nice dropkick. They marketed her as a former soccer player. She does this crazy hair whoop thing. I'm not a fan of that. It just doesn't look good. Doesn't look genuine. I just don't like it. But she has a very nice drop kick. She got a haluva kick in the corner, followed by a Finn Balor-like running drop kick in the corner, and that looked impressive. She won here with a full Nelson Slam. I wish she would have got more of a lift on the full Nelson Slam. Right now you're looking at the picture of her in mid full Nelson Slam. That's really as high as she got her. I wish she would have gotten her higher up because she is so tall. So I would have liked to see her use more of that size advantage of hers to lift her up, and I would have liked to see a lot more power, but she has that Charlotte-esque stature, and what I mean by that, she kind of looks like a man. That's what I mean by that, because a lot of people like to say Charlotte looks like a man. That's what I'm hinting at. She has that Charlotte-esque man-like look, long legs. I mean, I just see it in Rhea Ripley, but that is besides the point. Not much from Miranda Salinas. Would have liked to see more, but Rhea Ripley moves on, and it's going to be interesting to see what she could do. Has a very pretty drop kick. I'm going to like to see where she goes with that full Nelson Slam as a finisher, though. I don't think that looks good at all as her finisher. I think she should have some type of drop kick variation because she hits that pretty drop kick, hits it up high like it should be. So I like where Rhea Ripley is going. I like her look. But it's going to be interesting to see where she goes, because for now we are moving on, and it is, to no doubt about it, the best and final matchup that we are going to talk about here. This is the final matchup on episode 2, the main event, you can say, and it was the best matchup to the tournament to this point. Holy shit, this was a very good matchup. Mia Yim versus Sarah Logan. Mia Yim's story was very interesting, since it was centered around her overcoming this domestic violence dispute. And it was very interesting seeing her promo package was talking about how she had to overcome this. And then, of course, Sarah Logan, who was just this hard-hitting, I'm going to take all your punishment and still kick out type of girl. I was raised in the fucking farm in Kentucky, and I had to go and hunt for my dinner. That's the type of girl Sarah Logan is. And we have seen her on NXT. We've seen Sarah Logan on NXT, so I am familiar with her. And this was a very hard-hitting, no doubt about it, back-and-forth matchup. This was really the first matchup in the tournament with the no face and heel dynamic. Each and every other matchup had that face and heel dynamic. In the last matchup we talked about, Miranda Salinas, she was the heel. In the Rachel Evers versus Marty Bell played the heel role. In Xia Li versus Mercedes Martinez, Mercedes played the heel role, but here, no heel role, and I feel like that actually came out to the match's favor because it just allowed them to go back and forth instead of a heel dominating and the face making that babyface comeback. We just saw back and forth, hard hitting the entire time. And there was an awesome part of this matchup, and this is really where the matchup picked up. Mia Yim locked in the guillotine on Sarah Logan, and she had the body scissors guillotine. She fell to the mat with it. Sarah Logan finally got Mia Yim off of her, and they just started, as they're both sitting down in front of each other, they just start hitting each other back and forth. Absolutely fantastic. Crowd going wild for that. And that's really where the matchup just started getting, whoa, like, holy shit. Mia Yim got a very impressive series of German suplexes. She bridged them into pinfalls. Sarah Logan able to kick out. Sarah Logan got in a beautiful northern suplex, followed by double knees in the corner. And that was followed by an even more awesome fisherman suplex off the top rope to follow up. In the end, though, Mia Yim was able to hit that move you see right there. I have no name for it, except I know Xavier Woods does it. Lost in the Woods, bro. I absolutely despise the fact that both these women were in this matchup together in the first round, because I would have loved to have seen what a Sarah Logan could have done, because Mia Yim did hit that Lost in the Woods. That's what I'm going to call it. Whatever the move is called. She hit that, and it was 1, 2, 3, and we got the no doubt best match in the tournament we've seen so far. And I hate that fact that these two women, one of them had to win, and only one of them is moving on, because both Sarah Logan and Mia Yim displayed something very, very good here. I liked more what Mia Yim displayed. I thought her story was a lot more compelling than Sarah Logan's, and that's why she was chosen to move on. But based on what Sarah Logan did in that ring, I felt that would have been a lot much more better. I felt like we could have seen a lot more of that. But that is besides the point. I really enjoyed what we've seen here in this matchup. Best matchup in the tournament to date. I'm very, very excited to see what we're going to see in episodes 3 and 4, because I have not watched that yet. And Mia Yim versus Sarah Logan, and the Kimberly versus, what's her name, Jazzy Gabbert match. Those were the two best matches to date, the final matches of both episodes 1 and 2, so I'm very excited to see where this leads. For now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to close this review for the Mae Young Classic. I so much enjoyed reviewing and watching episodes 1 and 2 of the Mae Young Classic. Episodes 3 and 4, the review for that will be up on Wednesday morning, so make sure to stay tuned for that. I am very excited to watch episodes 3 and 4, because what we saw in episodes 1 and 2 was so good, and we still have Kairi Sane to watch, or Kairi Hojo, whatever you want to call her. She is going to be in the tournament, and that is the matchup I am looking forward to most in the Mae Young Classic. I cannot wait to see what Kairi Sane and everybody else on episodes 3 and 4 has to bring. I will be reviewing and watching that, and it will either be up Wednesday morning, or it will be up, of course, before Smackdown Live on Tuesday. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be all I have for you today as far as reviewing episodes 1 and 2 of the Mae Young Classic goes. Make sure to go check out all the other content on the channel. Like I said at the beginning of the video, Raw reviews, Smackdown reviews, pay-per-view reviews, NXT TakeOver special reviews, behind the mic each and every single Saturday. And of course, doing things like this, reviewing the Mae Young Classic. So there's a lot of content to check out on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of it, and make sure to click on that notification bell so you can get those notifications straight on your mobile device. Make sure to like this video if you enjoyed what you heard here, and make sure to comment what you thought of all the matches in the Mae Young Classic and of the Mae Young Classic as a whole. Because for now, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be Joel Perez of Ringside Wrestling Entertainment, and for now, I am out of here. Thank you very, very much for watching this video. I will see you later today for your Smackdown Live review.